Fish on, Jim, fish on.
Here we go. We are back with another great season and some of the fastest fishing action on the planet. To cast things off, we will show you what to expect this season. Then we'll join Dick Powers and his guests on their photographic safari of the wildlife and beauty of this one-of-a-kind area. So sit back, hang on, and enjoy Season 3 of Alaska's Fishing Paradise with the captains and guests of Waders Cove Wilderness Sport Fishing Lodge.
Fish on.
Let's go fishing!
Hey! Oh, go for it!
Feast of images.
Unfolding right in front of your eyes.
Fast and Furious is right. This fish took on hundreds of feet of line time after time.
I know.
That's a dandy, honey. Dolly Varden, I got my 200-pound hat.
Big old bear with a fat stomach. My heart's pounding. Welcome to Whalers Cove.
Hello and welcome to Season 3 of Alaska's Fishing Paradise. As with Seasons 1 and 2, the cameras recorded more footage than I can show you in each episode due to time. Once again, we will join the captains and guests of Waders Cove Lodge as they experience Southeast Alaska at its finest. The fishing action throughout the season out on the salt was fantastic for salmon, halibut, rockfish, and several species of cod, just to name a few. Saltwater captains Garfield George, Albert Howard, Kevin Frank, and Frank Jack are all from the village of Angoon, and they know every nook and cranny below the surface of Chatham Strait. Captains Jonathan Alsop and John Luman are new to the scene. Both proved they were no strangers to guiding or catching fish.
Fishing! That's what I like. Come on, bring me that fish.
Guests return to the docks each day with sore arms,
4 kings in a day.
and enough stories to last a lifetime.
And 4 halibut.
Did you know that the IGFA world record all-tackle yellow eye was caught by a guest of Waders Cove? This year, we may have broken yet another International Game Fish Association record with a short raker rockfish.
State record. Woo! Can't believe it.
The current IGFA all-tackle record is 35 pounds, 13 ounces, and the all-time Alaska state record rockfish is 38 pounds, 11 ounces. This fish tipped the scales to 42 pounds, making it not only the pending IGFA record, but the Alaska state record rockfish as well.
Alaska state record. World record. Give me some of that. Give me some of that. That's awesome.
Waders Cove founder, owner, and operator Dick Powers has put together one of the finest operations you will find anywhere in Alaska. We will be joining Dick on the salt as well as the many freshwater systems found within close running distance of the lodge.
Had a great day today, trying to go for trout now.
In this remote wilderness, I followed guides Ed Kukesh, Scott Grasser, and Dick Powers with novice and experienced anglers casting spinners and flies for cutthroat and Dolly Varden trout. As the season progressed, their attention turns to the 4 different species of salmon as they move upriver to participate in the big dance. New underwater footage of this phenomenon will leave you wanting more.
It was just absolutely incredible. Really beautiful. Lots of fish, an incredible amount of life here.
Hey guys, check out the bear prints. Look at this, fresh bear prints. We're close.
Unsurpassed fishing action isn't the only reason guests come to Waders Cove. Located smack dab in the middle of Alaska's Inside Passage, the waters and surrounding ABC Islands offer world-class wildlife viewing, photography, and natural history tours, something we haven't really shown that much of in Seasons 1 and 2.
So along with the beautiful landscape, then you have the animals, and then you have somebody who will tell you all about them.
When we return, it's eagles, brown bears,
Looked like a female brown bear.
humpback, and killer whales. We are going to get up close and personal with the wildlife and beauty of this one-of-a-kind area next on Alaska's Fishing Paradise.
Alaska's Fishing Paradise is brought to you by the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation, ensuring the future of wildlife and their habitat. Blue Goo, eliminate fog and static, safe for all plastics and lenses. And by Whalers Cove Wilderness Sport Fishing Lodge.
There he is.
I'm done. Ooh, yeah. Oh, yeah, baby.
And we just had the best time ever.
What would a guy do without friends?
You're watching Alaska's Fishing Paradise.
Today, naturalist Dick Powers will be guiding guests that have traveled from the eastern and western U.S. coasts. They are professional photographers and have chosen Whalers Cove for their photographic safari.
I'm Ann Lefkowitz, and I flew up here with my husband Steve Lefkowitz and my 5-year-old son Marcus.
This is my second time coming to Whalers Cove Lodge. I was here last year for a week, and I felt after 2 or 3 days of my week last year that I had to bring my family back. I knew I was going to come back, and I really wanted them to see this as well.
Joining Steve and his crew for this adventure is Richard Koch.
Back at home, I'm a business guy, own some real estate that I manage, and I do that for about half of my time, and the other half of the time I am a photographer.
Well, after we landed, Dick Powers said, well, you guys ready to go out for a boat ride and kind of see what's out there? And we said, sure, and we just grabbed our camera equipment and got on the boat, and we weren't even off the dock, and we already had seen like 3 eagles.
Whoa.
We got out on the water and started seeing what we came here to see.
See how much bigger the male is?
Oh, yeah.
So that's kind of a family there.
I see the baby.
I know. Isn't the baby cute? Mommy, daddy, and baby.
See the scars on its shoulder up there and on its head?
Yeah.
They fight a lot, and normally the males are the scarred up ones.
Okay. How do they get up there?
Oh, they jump up. They're pretty agile. They can virtually climb right up a vertical rock wall. You wouldn't think a 2,000-pound bull can just go right straight up.
Wow.
They feed on rockfish. This is a tremendous rockfish reef right here that they're setting on where this buoy is. And octopus and you know, any shellfish or any finfish, they're natural prey.
Eagles, what can I say? We actually saw our first eagles before we even got off the airplane.
We don't have to go very far to see eagles because their natural habitat is right where the lodge is. We happen to locate our lodge in one of the richest marine environments. The density of herring and other prey for the eagles is extremely abundant right here.
Growing up in San Francisco, eagles were something we just read about in books. And for me, to be able to see the complete range of eagle behavior is just, it's really eye-opening. And it's astonishing at the complexity of the relationships between them.
We've got a nesting pair of eagles fighting off a third for some carcass on the beach, and there's been a little aerial combat here so far. Here it comes again.
You know, National Geographic unfolding right in front of your eyes because you're just sitting there watching them fight for the piece of food.
Dragging it off.
Admiralty Island, which we're located right now, has the largest nesting population of bald eagle in North America and perhaps the world. There's an active eagle nest for every mile of shoreline, and Admiralty Island has over 1,000 miles of shoreline.
Watching the eagles protecting their nests is a real treat. There are nesting eagles in pairs that behave very differently from singles. And not surprisingly, I'm married, I get that. I've got pictures of eagles turned on their sides, feet out in the air, wings at 90 degrees to the ground, and they're practicing their combat maneuvers, riding the lifts and playing with each other. And they'll come in mock diving each other and then pull their talons back at the last minute, so you know they're playing. It's just been fantastic. I could spend all day sitting and just watching and learning about the different things that eagles do.
There are 3 eagles in sight, one in this tree, an immature in this tree, and one sitting on the ground. And with this light that's just come up, it's broken through. We've got a really nice portrait of this immature is drawing his wings here in the tree. It's fantastic framing. This mature one tends to stay in this particular tree or the tree next to it, and got a fantastic frame, just a little shadow on it. It's a really nice eagle portrait, and for For me as a photographer, a chance to shoot either of these birds would be the highlight of a perfect week.
We saw eagles all along the banks of the estuaries and bays.
Let me get this guy.
We saw adolescent eagles and adult eagles. You really, if you're patient enough and on the watch for them, you can certainly photograph eagles to your heart's content. The scenery is very dramatic, and being a landscape photographer, I certainly appreciate that. And I was astounded by the beauty. It was just magnificent. The green here is super saturated. It makes for a great landscape opportunity.
As we're driving on the boat, we get to see snow-capped mountains. We see these beautiful streams and these tall grasses. And as we're just looking out there, there's a bear.
When we return, we will focus on Southeast Alaska's largest predators, both above and below the surface. Stay right there. Things get a little close for comfort next on Alaska's Fishing Paradise.
Closed captioning is provided by Blue Goo. Eliminate fog and static. Safe for all plastics and lenses. Are you looking for an adventure of a lifetime? Or maybe a fishing trip of a lifetime? Or just need a great vacation? Well, look no further than Whalers Cove Wilderness Sport Fishing Lodge, Alaska's premier fishing destination, located in Southeast Alaska, right on the world-famous Inside Passage. It's the best of all worlds, saltwater and freshwater, sightseeing, eco-tours, and more, right here at Whalers Cove Lodge. Call us today to book your adventure of a lifetime.
Hi, I'm Brandon Bates. You know, we hunters appreciate the animals that we pursue in a way that non-hunters will just never understand. We also protect their habitat. That's why the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation alone has conserved more than 5.5 million acres of prime elk country and torn down over 600,000 acres of no trespassing signs. But we're losing vital habitat every day and we need your help. If you haven't gotten on board yet, you ought to. Call 1-800-CALL-ELK or visit elkfoundation.org.
You're watching Alaska's Fishing Paradise.
Dick Powers and his guests are spending a few days to photograph the beauty and abundant wildlife found in the area, and Dick is just the man for the job. He has been on the waters of Chatham Strait since Moby Dick was a minnow. Every day during their stay at Whalers Cove brought a new encounter. This is not only a fishing paradise, but a photographic one as well.
The whales, my favorite part of the trip is just seeing the humpback whales. I have never been this close to a humpback, and for that matter, this intimate. It's usually been on a bigger boat with a lot of people. This is just with Dick, my husband, Richard, and Marcus. Oh!
Whales are always a treat, and whales have special meaning for my wife and I. We honeymooned in South Central Alaska 7 years ago and had fantastic experiences with whales, and we've sought them out as a family ever since. We've had extensive sightings. Every day we've seen whales. We tracked about 7 whales this morning for a while. Had a chance to watch them spout and interact and feed.
My heart's pounding. It's probably as close as I've been to a whale all week. Probably as close as I've been to a whale in my whole life. It's fantastic.
Quite a few people that are studying the humpback whales, and you know from their efforts that many of the whales that we find here in the summer months migrate to warmer climates, particularly off the Mexican coast and South American coast, even more commonly to Hawaii. A lot of the same whales that we find up here in the summer, they've located in Hawaii. One of the theories is that the females, when they give birth, they like to be in warmer water until the young ones get up to a certain size. And also much of the breeding activity occurs in warmer climates. They do also breed in this area too. It's in the middle of winter typically, and so it's not observed by much, but there is some, however limited, breeding activity for humpback whales in this area.
There he is. There he is. Hi, buddy.
We've had this really great experience of seeing the humpbacks for an hour or two almost every day that we've been on the water. And each one of their tails is their thumbprint of who they are.
We did not get bubble feeding whales this time. It was a little early in the season.
Last year, I saw whales bubble feeding in a circle probably 5 days out of the 7 days I was here. This year, we might be a little bit too early to see the whales pack up to do the bubble feeding, but we've had a different experience. We had one night with fantastic, wonderful, magical night of a mother and baby breaching.
Mike, we're in between two whales right now. We've got the mom over my right shoulder, the baby over my left shoulder. Baby's a little more active. But the mom, she's a breacher, and boy, when she goes, it's incredible.
Time after time, breaching left, breaching right, breaching backwards, breaching towards us. And from a photographer's point of view, it was just a rich feast of images.
We tend to humanize all animals, and the question is why are whales breaching? And most of the whale breaching activity, to me, seems to be kind of at the end of their feeding cycle. To them, I think it's an expression of joy. Who knows? But it's certainly really an event that we all take into, and you can normally count on it towards the end of their feeding cycle.
Oh, nice, man. Adult humpbacks consume approximately 1.5 tons of herring, krill, or pollock daily. Working as a group helps to accomplish this task. To learn a little more about one tactic used to fill their massive bellies, let's join Dick Powers once again on this segment of Straight Talk.
For the most part, the whales feed on herring in this area. This is the one place in the world, in northern southeast Alaska, where humpback whales bubble net feed or group feed on herring. There's about 600 whales, we understand, that target the herring, and they use quite a variety of tactics, but generally it's marshaled by a single whale, and there's only a half a dozen or even a dozen of them that orchestrate the group feeding. The leader will dive and get underneath, and all the rest of the whales dive too and follow him. And the leader circles in a spiral underneath the ball of herring or the area that he selected, and he blows bubbles, and many of them are a foot in diameter. And as he blows the bubbles, he starts his sounds, which is kind of comes across as a high-pitched scream that actually increases in volume as he approaches the surface. This curtain of bubbles is rising, and that's hazing the bait into the center. The other whales that follow, they use the underside of their lateral flukes, which are large arm-like appendages on the humpback whales, and they flash, which further concentrates them. And then in concert, they all come up through the circle, or the bubble net, and surface at the same time with their mouths right next to each other.
They're right
underneath us right now.
Right
underneath us.
Dick Powers has kept our guests in the middle of the heart-pounding action. After the break, they get up close and personal with the four-legged creatures roaming the beaches, bays, and river systems. Stay right there. We have saved the best for last, next on Alaska's Fishing Paradise.
Are you looking for an adventure of a lifetime? Or maybe a fishing trip of a lifetime? Or just need a great vacation? Well, look no further than Whalers Cove Wilderness Sport Fishing Lodge, Alaska's premier fishing destination, located in southeast Alaska, right on the world-famous Inside Passage. It's the best of all worlds, saltwater and freshwater, sightseeing, eco-tours, and more, right here at Whalers Cove Lodge. Call us today to book your adventure of a lifetime. Alaska's Fishing Paradise is brought to you by the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation, ensuring the future of wildlife and their habitat. Blue Goo, eliminate fog and static, safe for all plastics and lenses. And by Whalers Cove Wilderness Sport Fishing Lodge.
The one thing that's really fun when you're out here in nature and you're just taking stuff in, at a moment's notice, anything can kind of change. As we're just looking out there, there's a bear And then it's a mother bear with her 2 cubs.
Mama is looking right at us. She's booking. It's okay.
This is ideal habitat for bears, and Admiralty Island is known for having the highest density of bears in Alaska. There's supposed to be over 1 bear per square mile on Admiralty Island, which is about 1,000 square miles. My theory for that is it's ideal habitat. You have a lot of good intertidal zones with a lot of grass, and bears tend to graze much more than most people realize. They're true omnivores, and they like their salad as well as their meat.
You know, the Whalers Cove experience is built around small boat access to the wildlife. And so it gives a lot of choice to me as a viewer. How do I want to interact with this wildlife? We got into some great situations as a result. We had an opportunity to go for a little walk and find a very, very, very big grizzly feeding on grass all by himself.
This is one hungry brown bear. He's feeding on just a ton of grass out in this tidal flat.
Usually, from my experience of a week, the bears run off fairly quickly, but this bear was content with us. But then the bear started walking laterally across our path. But he came within 20 yards, maybe 15 yards of us. And he was content to keep walking, but he kept his eyes on us. He would look back, and he was a big old bear with a fat stomach. I'm glad he was content. When I was looking at him, I knew that he wasn't showing any terribly aggressive behavior. And I wasn't worried for my life.
And he wasn't threatened by us. We weren't threatened by him. We had an opportunity to watch him for a good part of an hour. It was definitely the thrill. It was definitely the thrill of 2011 to have him walk off into the woods, looking at us, showing his full size, his massive head and neck, and his full girth of his body. It was a real thrill, and the pictures were pretty good.
The trip was more than I expected. It was a real pleasure to find a lodge that had so many amenities and so many nice people with direct access to wonderful images. And for those fishermen, the best fishing grounds is 15 minutes away. So it's an amazing place. I recommend it to everybody.
I've had an amazing family vacation with my husband, Steve, and my 5-year-old son, Marcus.
Our 5-year-old's had a chance to see, for the first time himself, he's had a chance to count whales by counting the spouts. He's had a chance to get over his fear of bears by seeing bears close up and seeing them interact with us. And for my wife, she loves nature as much as I do. It's a real treat to share this together and to create these family memories here at Whalers Cove.
Thanks, Whalers Cove.
Next week, we will return to the Salt with self-guided anglers pursuing halibut and silver salmon. Chef Andrew Scholes will also return to kick off 12 more delicious seafood recipes. For more information on photo safaris, natural history tours, and fishing in Alaska, log on to WhalersCoveLodge.com and enjoy. While you're there, be sure to click on our sponsor links for more information on products and services seen on this episode of Alaska's Fishing Paradise. You can also friend Whalers Cove on Facebook to easily keep up on all the current action.
Time after time, breaching left, breaching right, breaching backwards, breaching towards us. And from a photographer's point of view, it was just a rich feast of images.